We are back here. Sorry about that. We had a small little glitch here with some internet issues, but we are going to finish up our thoughts here. Quick thoughts to finish up basketball. It's only taken us 30 minutes to talk about basketball.
Shocking.
Shocking, right? And Kyle's all hunched over, got you all covered up over there.
That's all right.
So
I know, I think
finish things up here.
The thing that I talk about a little bit about, the basketball is, like I said, we're going across you talk about across the river. I mean, over there, their state finals, the teams were all at the facility, and the IHSA called it off.
Yeah.
All the teams were there. It was
Yes.
just the teams only going to play,
Yeah.
and IHSA called it all off after they'd already traveled up there and was ready to go play that day. And at 9 a.m. in the morning for an 11 o'clock game, they said, nope, we're not doing it.
Well, they that's basically what Greene County did down in Springfield. Greene County Health Department told Misha, all right, it needs to be 25% capacity. So, they're scrambling the morning of telling schools, hey, you only get 100
people,
tickets
yeah.
or 75 people, whatever it is. And so, yeah, this is definitely going to be the COVID year. I mean, I feel bad. We hired a new baseball coach at South, and God, he had at least 2 kids that are playing at Arkansas State right now, and it was his team, to do some damage, and they'd returned a bunch of kids who'd lost to Borgia in the sectional game or whatever the year before, and I'm sure there's stories around that all around, where you had teams that just didn't get to play. And track, I mean, you guys at Herky have a really good tradition with track and cross country, and not getting those track athletes getting their track season in. And,
yeah. We had a good shot, I thought, on the boys and girls side both last year to maybe achieve a plaque on the both sides. And so,
wow.
That was something that, we were very devastated with. And we had a kid that was, kind of have an opportunity to be a lead as far as a state champion in single events, and, just didn't ever get that chance. So, I just think a lot of that kind of thing is all these kids that did not get that chance, one to finish up their careers at their high schools in whatever sport it was.
Yeah, just to get that finality of things.
And then they left whatever sport they did in the winter. Let's say they did a sport in the winter. They thought, this is not the last time I'm ever going to step floor on an athletic court or a field or a track or whatever.
What about Pius is usually really strong in girls soccer, right?
Yeah,
in the spring.
Yeah.
I mean, they, trying to think what, just the soccer, losing soccer and baseball and track and.
Well, I mean, I feel bad for our track coach. It was his first year, and he's been the cross country coach.
Yeah,
and he's going to turn that. It's not like our track program was down. It just our numbers from the middle school never really translated to the high school, and I think he would actually be able to boost that up. Where now, instead of us relying on these 12 good athletes, we'd actually have 20 on both sides and getting them out. But he's trying to create that program.
Well, track is a sport. You got to have as many events filled to get as many points possible, right? So you want to be able to have those.
I think he's going to turn that program around, but now he's almost a year back. And then let's continue even this year. I mean, I bet you our middle school numbers are low. I mean, they are low. We only have 8 in 8th grade, and that's the lowest we've ever had. And I know of 3 girls that I've talked to, and they go, well, my parents don't want me playing sports this year because of COVID. And it's like, I get that, and I understand, and I can feel for them on that. But then it's like you've just taken a year away from it, and then how is it going to be? Am I going to be able to get them out their freshman year to come out and actually work onto it, or did we just lose 2 or 3 girls that could have been somebody,
right? And
now we just kind of lost. And how many, especially these smaller schools?
Yeah.
How many kids did you lose? I mean, we have 70 kids online right now, so just with 7th and 8th grade. So how many of those could have played? Maybe.
I've said this talking with you guys a lot over the past few months. Like, what our administration has done to make sure that kids got the experience of being live and in person. And like, yeah, I'm Miller, I'm tired. I'm a teacher. It's Christmas break. But I would do it 100 times over again with, what our leadership, with what Jonathan Butterfield and Brian Lind and Rob Ladage and, our leadership team at our school, to get kids in person learning, to give them that experience that's transformational in high school.
Right. Yeah. They have to be in school.
Yeah, yeah. It's
Online just does not.
It doesn't translate. It's not the same, and
you're seeing that.
Yeah.
It's
more work, but it's what needs to be done for them.
Yeah. And for me, it was kind of cool because we kind of did an A and a B model. So, like, basically our classrooms are set up for 16 kids to be socially distanced. And so if you have more than 16 kids in class, you split your time, you go A and B, and then you move and you get a big group meeting once a week with them. And for me, it was really cool just to have smaller groups to really build relationships with kids.
Right.
And for me, this was one of, again, stepping away from the coaching side for a second, but in the classroom, this was one of maybe my favorite years of teaching in 19 years.
Hands-on.
Being able to be with the kids in that situation. So, yeah, I really feel for those kids that lost out on an experience that they're never going to get back in the spring.
So suck it, Miller.
Yes, I'm tired.
But he did
it's
say,
okay.
he did say,
something.
Ben,
Go
trust
ahead.
me, I know tired looks like right now. I know he does.
Hey, he's picking up
You
those
keep
kids.
talking. You keep talking, you two over there, and I got to change something up here. You just keep talking.
But and that's the one thing that we've done here at Dunklin, and I know that we've been very fortunate for the whole first semester that we were able to go 5 days a week all year.
Yeah.
And I thought that was an attest to our administration and our school board that they were able to make that happen and offer that for our kids. And a lot of our kids took advantage of that. I think some of them stepped away the first semester maybe and then our first quarter and maybe realized that it was just way too hard, way too difficult to try to do that virtual learning. And I think some parents realized it as well, that it was just a lot more on that kid's plate than what they could probably handle. And so we were very fortunate with that.
Yeah, and this is what I was alluding to before we had the technical difficulties. Like, these kids, they're not it's not super spreader events. Schools aren't super spreaders, especially when you've got a health official in your nursing staff, you've got administrators that are making decisions, you've got teachers. The kids want to be there. They're not going to go pull their mask down and breathe in somebody's face because they want to be on campus. So they're going to stay spread out. They're going to keep their mask on. They're going to do what it takes. They're not going to come to school sick. My wife's a pediatric ICU nurse, and she said that they've seen, the pediatric ICU numbers are down because kids aren't in school. You don't have the younger kids breathing RSV and all these other viruses all on each other. And so that's my thing. Like, I feel this. Kids need to be in school. They need that experience. They need to be social. They need that social interaction. And you talked about what's going on with what from an athletic standpoint, but what are we going to do? Like, mental health. What have we done to our kids? What do we as education professionals and coaches and stuff like that? We're going to have to do a lot of work to help those kids deal with those mental health issues too, from things that they lost out over last year.
Holy shnikes is all I got to say.
I love it. I love it. But that is something that it's going to be a very touchy subject as far as moving forward with some of these kids that weren't able to go into the classroom and was strictly virtual. How do they handle that as far as a mental standpoint of, they're going to be, asked a lot of, and they're just going to be behind as far as that goes. And we've talk to kids that have said that, man, I just didn't realize how much being in the classroom was an advantage for me compared to a disadvantage.
Well, and, Riley and Ray, we've had, good conversations about faith.
Sure.
And one of the things that I'm thankful for that maybe you guys don't have the same freedoms or liberties, I guess to say, is, reminding my kids of their identity in Christ first and foremost. And that's how you attack those mental health issues.
Sure.
Is, you're a child of God, loved and saved by Jesus.
Right.
And you start there, and then you can help them to heal through that, So, like I said, fortunately, in my situation, I can reinforce that every single day.
Yep.
Yes.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I just, I'm a fan of kids. When you get in this business, you can't just be a fan of your kids. You have to be a fan of all kids, right? And I just, the ones, that are out there that are hurting, that missed out on something, those are the ones you feel for.
Absolutely, absolutely. And there is a lot of those out there, and it's very unfortunate. But, it's part of what we've had to deal with in 2020. And, we've got to make the most of what we've had and help the ones that need the help as far as that goes. So that's why we do what we do.
It is.
So,
it is.
We're moving on to the summer, Ray. We'll go on.
We buzzed through baseball already. And starting with our fall sports, football, volleyball, girls softball. Start with girls softball first. We covered quite a few games. Saw some amazing play out of
Jefferson County's got some good softball.
Great pitching.
Yeah.
Had some great pitching this past fall. Ellie Eckrich over in Hillsboro. AJ Eggers over at St. Pius X. Can't keep out Katrin Couture over there at good catcher. Piper Montgomery over at Windsor.
Right.
We caught a little bit of Windsor, a little bit of Hillsboro, a little bit of St. Pius. Through all of those teams there, I'm trying to remember that. We didn't have the unfortunate thing is we didn't have a super deep Jefferson County run like we are used to.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And so we took a look at Windsor. Was kind of a weird deal. They pull Rosati Kane the first game, I believe that's correct. They lost, and then they find out that a Rosati Kane, I believe, or was it a Webster Groves team that played Rosati? It was a Rosati Kane pitcher is ineligible because she was playing a club sport.
They're in the
same
I
season,
did hear about
same
that.
sport.
And
Weird.
it stinks for Windsor. It just does, But we covered that game. It was one heck of a game.
Yeah.
The
Well, the
pitcher was a heck of a
Webster,
pitcher.
Because Webster won it. didn't
Webster
it?
won the state
Because
title
of-
that year, so this year, and first time ever that they've won a state title there in softball,
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken. I think I read that. So
I will football-wise.
Okay, go ahead.
With that, we were 0-10 last year, Lutheran South. DC,
Undefeated.
who is
Undefeated.
he is our he's our assistant basketball coach with me, but he's our head football coach too. He got his first win of the season in the last couple of years. Windsor was close game, and they actually went for an onside kick and recovered it.
Oh, wow.
I don't know. We still haven't figured out if it was a squib gone bad or if it was an actual
was not
onside kick. And with football,
Like the longest yard when the guy he can't kick. I know. Get the ball.
Exactly.
one of the things I thought was cool about football is I know Jarvis coached his son, and I always looked forward to that picture every Friday night that he posted with his son.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought that was a cool thing. He was taking a moment to
be a dad.
hey, let me hold on and enjoy this experience that I get with my son. I mean, my kid's 5, and sometimes I want to choke him out. Not till he stops breathing, just till he gets
down,
the point,
right?
Yeah. And my daughter's 2.5, and I hope that I'm fortunate enough to get the opportunity to coach them in some sport, and I hope that I can do what Jason's done and just take that moment and say, hey, this is a cool thing.
Take
I want
your
to enjoy
coaching
this
hat off.
experience.
Right.
Be a dad.
It's cool.
And so Friday nights, that was one of the things I looked forward to, was just that weekly picture that he posted, following him on on social media. So I think, cool moments like that we get out of sports, right? That's another thing that we get out of sports.
As coaches, sometimes, as far as much as we don't want to say it happens where coaching takes us out of our family life and maybe puts that sometimes behind the 8 ball as far as that goes. And, that's something that, I've been very fortunate to have a lot of support at home as far as what I do coaching-wise. But, I was able to this fall to be able to see my son play and, as a freshman in high school, play soccer and just enjoy the experience of being able to be a dad in the stands and watch.
What school did he go to?
DeSoto. DeSoto, yes, thanks. But, it was just a cool experience for me just to be able to sit in the stands and just enjoy watching him play and not being critical or being a coach. And
would he have looked better in black and red?
He definitely would have.
Probably blue and gold.
Yeah.
Kyle gets that one in the blue and gold.
You value your kid's education. Is that how it goes?
What, you mean you couldn't get Miller to get you a good enough deal over there?
Right?
Don't you know people there?
I guess my son didn't value his education enough. I don't know.
I will say, I don't think I've ever lost to a Lancer in the soccer pitch.
Wow.
But so that those are kind of experiences, and I think that's great that you brought that up about Jason, because those are some special times that you said you look forward to that, because that was very meaningful to him, and they had a really rough year this year in football, but he still took the time out after every opportunity just to tell his kid, hey, I'm enjoying these moments of being your coach, but I'm also enjoying it just as being your dad. And that's something that, as far as that goes, that I take a lot of pride in, and I see it, that Coach Jarvis does that. I mean, they don't realize how many hours of the day he spends with other kids, not his own, and it's just tough. It's really tough. So it's a very tough situation. But
we'll move on to volleyball real quick. We'll quickly cover that. I'll tell you, this was our first year doing a full season.
Let's go back to football real quick. I want to make sure we mention about the Jefferson.
I was going to get back to football again, but
the Jefferson R7 Blue Jays made it. And what an awesome season for them. They just were playing really good football at late, and
deepest run they've ever made in school history.
It was awesome to just the excitement around the county as far as them and Festus were able to go get a little deep run into the playoffs and bring kind of a little bit of excitement back into the county as far as football wise. Sure. We haven't seen that.
Festus won district
and the next round, and then they lost after that.
Yeah.
So
okay. Some footballs some football districts, it's like straight to quarterfinals sometimes.
Yeah, so I think that's how it went this year.
Their upper classes were definitely like that.
Straight to quarterfinals.
And, Festus dropped to Union, and then Jefferson made it the next round, lost in the Final Four to, what is the name of that school?
Lamar?
Over there? Lamar, that's correct.
Lamar's a powerhouse.
Yes, yeah. And, so they're, kudos to both those schools. I mean, I kind of probably think Festus might be a little disappointed because they were wanting to go a little deeper. But,
First year with the coach.
Yeah, first year with the coach, you just have no idea.
They ran into a good Union team
they beat John Burroughs.
Yeah, they were playing very, very well.
They were playing extremely well.
And they didn't just walk all over them either. So it was a good ball game as well. So
I talked to that AD that day when we went over there to check out Union because we were supposed to do the game. Mm-hmm. One of my announcers had a family emergency the day of the game. We had to cancel, and the school had to cover the game. But long story short, on that whole thing, I mean, he said that John Burroughs game, he said it's probably the best game I've seen in about 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
So,
wow.
That was a heck of a game that they the Union Wildcats put up with John Burroughs. So
I mean, it was just really cool to see the community rally behind those two schools as much as, we have a rivalry between all the county schools. I mean, when they both started going deep into the playoffs, you saw the communities.
Did they allow a
around.
good following, Ray, or were they limited by COVID too?
It's limited, but I mean,
Certain places were
certain
limited.
places, like I think you go out to Union, and I think they actually had more because they were in
Opportunity.
Franklin County, right?
yeah.
And then they went to Lamar. I think they kind of had some a little bit more leeway, and you saw a lot of people sitting outside the stands as far as
Sam
that goes.
Page wasn't there either, too. So,
And I'll bring up
Stan.
that, Ray, and while you're on that topic. I'm watching the state playoff, state championship game with Jackson in it, and I look and I'm watching that game on TV, Misha TV, and they're shoulder to shoulder in the stands.
Mm-hmm.
Shoulder to shoulder. I mean,
where was the
shoulder
game at?
to shoulder. It was in Jeff City.
Okay.
They played at I can't remember now.
Fulton?
No, they played at the three schools there.
Elias, Jeff
City, and then,
Capital City. Did they play there?
There was gosh darn it, now I can remember.
Battle.
Blair Oaks.
Blair Oaks.
Those are the
that's
three
right,
schools
yeah.
they played at, and I mean, it was just shoulder to shoulder, and just crammed all in there, and you think, what in the world? But so that was just the kind of thing. It was just did COVID kind of get smart and decide to stay outside the fences or
Right.
something?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know, but it was just awesome to see that community come together and be there for their opportunity for Jackson's first ever state title in football. And they've had some really good runs. They just never been able to get over that hump to get a state championship.
They seem to be good at everything, it seems like.
We had a conference. I think MICDS played in a state championship game, one of those out of our conference.
Yeah, they did.
And
Crazy.
yeah.
I mean, I think Jefferson County cheers for. I mean, you saw that with 253 when they went to the World Series. I mean, I feel like everybody was on board because a bunch of schools kind of
Represented.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, you hear cross country. You hear Jefferson County. You think, oh, there's cross country, and it's like something. I mean, not to bash cross country because I mean, touche to them, but it's kind of nice getting something other than just one sport. Let's get some other sports getting involved and try to put Jefferson County back on the map as a whole, not just one good school or this school's just going to do it all.
Right.
That's something that, as far as tough as this year has been so far, we've had a decent amount of success in the sports atmosphere as far as that goes. So I think it's an attest to the kids and the amount of work that they're putting in outside of practice to stay healthy, to stay,
Practice.
yeah.
You're supposed to practice?
And I think that's something
wake
that.
up.
So what
Right.
did you guys won the district in cross country, right?
Yes.
Girls?
Yes.
Okay. And then did you guys make it to the podium?
Nope.
No.
No.
They do have the most podiums, consecutive year podiums.
14. Mhm.
Yeah.
In state history.
Yeah. I know you guys were good cross country. However, I did get a text that day. The district champion
Oh, yeah.
of your district, this individual district champion. Yeah, she texted me.
They told you what I said to her?
And she said
Who was that?
she was also the state champion, by the way, my starting point guard,
Yes,
Macy Shope.
Macy.
Oh, okay.
And
Very talented.
she said, Coach, I can't wait till we play Herculaneum because I owe them now. Okay. So yeah, she won.
Whoever she's guarding is sticking at half court. I'm playing the whole night.
We only have one track. We only have one cross country girl on varsity. Like,
She
tell the back off.
Right.
and she did commit. So my starting point guard won't play basketball in college, but she's going to go to a little small school down in Tuscaloosa. I think it's called Alabama. To run cross
so
country.
small.
Roll Tide,
Right?
Roll Tide,
So
Jarvis. Roll Tide.
Her older sister's there now, and
Okay.
so they recruited her, and she
Nice.
decided. So yeah, so that's I'm happy
Awesome.
for her.
Good
She
for
gets to
her.
keep running, and
Yeah. Good deal.
she won district, won state. She, had come up short a couple of times, but it was funny. I got that text on the day, and she said, Herky beat us, right? And I'm like, yeah. She's like,
I told her that.
basketball.
She probably texted you right after I said, take it easy on us in basketball this year.
Yeah.
She's
I congratulated
phenomenal.
her,
I
but-
like watching her defend
Oh, she's
great.
Great kid.
When you had her against Capozzo, I mean, Capozzo is pretty good ball handler, especially for a sophomore in Jefferson County.
Yeah.
And she just made her look bad. And there's not a lot of girls that'll make Capozzo look bad. And it's fun watching her play defense.
Well, she's such a competitor, and that's the kind of thing about it. I mean, you just taking that consideration, but she definitely was a competitor, and you saw the fight. I was there that state cross country meet. When she won that state title, and you could see the determination on her face.
Yeah, didn't she have to hold a kid off? Coming down the stretch.
Wow, what a finish that was! I was sitting up at the top of the hill there, watching. And, I mean, my goodness, you saw the competitive kid come out in her, that's for sure. And I will remember this watching her dad in his a joy of all that hard work and that effort and that energy that she's put into it, to watch his emotion when she crossed that finish line as a state champion. And, that's the kind of thing that you take into consideration, that all these parents, they think that they watch their kid grow up and determined and put all the work in to be successful, and then they get to see the rewards of that, as far as being a parent of a kid and saying, okay, here, I always taught you, work hard, everything you do, and then they see the rewards of that. So it's just awesome.
Was Festus's cross country, were they strong this year?
They won championship.
Yes.
Did they?
Yes.
Cool.
Sure.
Yeah, I knew they're usually pretty strong.
And that is so weird to say that, because the years that I grew up out here, there was Herky and there was everybody else.
Yeah.
Coach Wright, right? Coach Wright's got it.
Coach Wright, yeah.
He's got it figured out with them.
And multiple years from what I'm hearing.
Oh, yeah, it's been
7 years in a row. That tied Herculaneum's boys record for the most consecutive years in a row as a state champion. Wow. So, next year they'll, unless they get knocked off or somewhat, they'll overtake Herculaneum's record there. So, been standing for a long time.
Accepted.
So,
Caston.
So awesome season for us for the counties as far as all those sports go, and then we'll go into volleyball.
Here. Yeah. So trying to remember, Crystal won their district.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then Hillsborough won the district outright over Pius.
Yes.
Which that was a feat in itself too, because Pius girls rolled.
They got bumped two classes with the new championship
bumped
factor.
Up two, and handled it fairly well, I felt.
Yeah.
I knew they probably weren't going to win the class 4. Because that's a big feat. That's like Valley trying to win.
Yeah.
Right. Jumping up from class 1 to class 3. In football, but I was pretty impressed with how they handled themselves. They knew they had a tough task in front of them, but that's the championship factor now.
Right.
You're going to continue to win. They're going to move you up.
And I did see that Kevin Halley said
that. Yeah, he just posted that.
Don't forget about St. Pius girls cross country. But they had the state champion as well.
Yeah.
In class 2, I think they're class 2.
Oh, wow.
So
cool.
They had the individual state champion in class 2, and was on the opportunity there to get on the podium. So how awesome is that for them, and to be able to, they won a district title in cross country as well. So great opportunity. Yep. I think even maybe our 7 won a district title in cross country still. A lot of district titles around the county in cross country, but that tells you, like you had said, cross country is pretty good in this county.
Right.
How was Windsor's volleyball this year?
Windsor did pretty well. They made it into that a pretty tough. They made it all the way to the finals in the districts and lost.
Mm-hmm. Were they with Hillsborough?
No, they were not. This was the first year that since we've been covered, they went north. Rockwood Summit came out of that particular district.
Okay.
Then we decided to go and cover Hillsborough and Rockwood Summit. Hillsborough ended up having to play Narix Hall the first round, and they got bounced pretty quick.
Yeah.
Narix Hall had one heck of a feat to come back. They came from behind 2 games and won 3 straight against
Summit.
We would get put with those schools at times, and but we got bumped into class 6 this year, so I kind of lost. With because our championship factor took us up.
That's absolutely such a jump for some of these schools. It's like, okay, there's a major adjustment that has to happen.
Oh yeah,
and I still feel like public schools need to have that championship factor.
See, I am with you. I think that for private schools, it should be unlimited. So if you're class 2, you get it. You could end up in 6. But I think
so
public
you want to
schools,
be in the NIT.
But I think public schools should get 1 for sure. I mean, you mean to tell me places like, we talk about Stratford basketball,
yes.
or Lamar football,
right.
or
But
Webb City football.
Wouldn't they want to? If I'm Stratford, it's like I walk all over everybody. Their only close games are against class, at least last couple of years, 4 and 5 schools.
Right.
Now, they were holdovers from that 4-year run.
Correct.
Still. And I'll tell you what, I think it's Emma Compton, who's a senior this year. I mean, anybody would take that kid as their point. You talk about a kid that just plays with grit. And I remember when we played him, and she was, I think she was, what was it, 3 years ago, 2, I don't know. She was freshman or sophomore, and coming off the bench for him, I'm like, jeez, this kid's coming off the bench. Like,
we're in trouble.
So that's success breeds success. But yeah, some of those, Webb City football, Lamar football,
Chris Millis' South Iron basketball.
South Iron
got you,
basketball.
buddy.
Yeah.
Didn't they lose this week? They lost.
They lost to
Vashon.
Vashon. Yeah.
What a game. I mean, what a team that is.
Well, it gives.
And then
That's what
they
I
beat
was
Waynesville.
I'm doing that. I saw that, too.
They beat Waynesville
Pretty bad, too.
by 40.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
they
Class
played
1
some-
school
yeah.
played Class close.
Miller, what about that? Come on now, South Iron. They're supposed to beat Vashon. I'm just saying. I'm just kidding.
But even like Vashon, who's gonna, probably would have won a state championship again last year, right? Like, do they deserve the championship factor? I mean, I'm with you. I think that public schools should have it, but not as drastic as the private schools.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So some form of it, but
There is.
yeah.
Anything else? I'm trying to think.
That's all that we have as far as fall sports. I think
Fall
that's
sports?
fun, good. And then, we're kind of starting out the winter sports here with, the craziness, as they call it, COVID-19. So, it's just been a whirlwind of games canceling, teams getting quarantined, getting out of games, getting out of this tournaments. I think that's just going to be how it's going to be all year. And
Flexibility.
We're
You
just
gotta
going to
have flexibility.
And that's one thing him and I were just talking about this in the last week, that I'm really shocked that Misha hasn't put a boundary on it and said, okay, we're just going to take away the tournament and game limitations and say we're just going to let you play a maximum of 25 games. However you play them is up to you.
Yeah.
Because of
However
all this tournaments.
go get them. Yeah.
Because you can maybe play in a tournament, you play one game, and then a team gets quarantined, and now you're out that tournament. You only got one game out of it,
Right.
And that's why one of the things we did with our tournament that you guys are playing in was it was important to us to make sure that each school got 3 games.
Right.
And so when we sat down and said, all right, St. Louis County really doesn't want us to do bracket style. They don't want us to have a bunch of people in one place at one time. So when my athletic director and I sat down and said, all right, what ideas do we have for this? I said, all right, let's figure out who everybody plays or will play. Let's give them matchups of people they're not going to normally see or repeats. And let's just make sure everybody has 3 games. And then if for some reason Riley can't get one of his games in, he knows that school and they can figure out when in their schedule they can go get that game. And then you don't lose out on that. But yeah, you're seeing that all over the place. I mean, both of us were supposed to play this week. And, for us, I think it ended up being a blessing in disguise just because we got quarantined early in the basketball season. So we've been able to spend the last 3 or 4 days of practice just focusing on stuff we would have done early season when we were quarantined.
Yeah.
And without having to prepare for a game. So, but yeah, 15, you guys are going to end up in the, 20-something, 22 days without
22 days between without a game.
Yeah,
So.
and so
You're dying for a game right now, aren't you?
Yeah.
Well, we start with
do you ever-
Webster.
do you ever
Welcome back.
did you
No,
ever
I never
get
heard
that
back
one
from
for,
that. I'm hoping next week we get one on Tuesday or Wednesday. That's what I'm hoping for. So
We're working on something.
we're trying
You guys
to. We're
together?
Well, not us
Not-
together.
but
we,
with
actually,
school.
we joked. We said we should have just
With
moved
who?
our game
Yeah, you should have.
against
To
each
next
other
week.
till like this week, and then filled in
We
later
have
on.
nothing for another week.
Yeah.
We don't have
wow.
anything till your tournament.
Oh wow, yeah.
So-
And that one, we're back. We took that one game out. Pius is So it's us back-to-back, 12 and 145, I think. Or
Yeah,
those
on the
games.
second.
Okay.
So,
Gotcha. All right. I knew
So
I was
there
going to
it
get.
is.
I knew I was going to get some love from Chris Miller.
There it is.
There it is. Vashon as a kid going to UNLV. I got it. I understand. I was totally joking there. Take it easy now. Take it easy.
Yeah, that is one thing that South Iron has done is a great job this year. I mean, they knew they were going to be a pretty good basketball team, and they just didn't go play all these Class 1 schools. They went out and played Class 4s, 5s, and 6s.
Well, and you got to.
Make yourself better.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
with that
That's
kind
what it
of
comes down to.
talent, I mean, you definitely got to put those kids in the best position, as far as that goes. So,
Absolutely.
tap off to them.
Absolutely.
If you read my next post, I said I'll give him love when he gives Cincinnati and Coastal Carolina some
What's
love.
the over/under on that, right?
That's for you, McVay.
We always
That's
pull.
for
We
you.
always
Yeah,
pull
McVay.
the. We always pull the over/under because of the Kyle Bohr factor. There, so there it is. Well, guys, it's been a fun show, and we're going to kind of see where we go for tomorrow or next week, I should say. And,
Hopefully, we'll have the boys back.
Yeah.
But if not, we'll be able to hopefully get our Christmas, gift
Our rescheduled
exchange,
gift exchange, together
as well. I think that'll be a fun show. Hopefully, that'll happen either next week or the week after, maybe. So that's gonna be some fun stuff going on. But hey, we just enjoyed 2020 as far as that goes.
Kevin
So,
Holly.
know
I'm
what he
sorry. That was me. I said it. I spelled Coastal Carolina incorrect.
Yes.
I get it.
Yes.
I get it.
hey, well, I just want to say thanks for letting me fill in
man.
today.
A lot of fun.
And,
Yeah, definitely.
2020's been a weird year,
Oh
but
my gosh.
for me, the thing that I've taken the most comfort in is knowing God's still on the throne.
Yep.
He's in
Right.
control, and makes waking up tomorrow pretty easy.
Yes, it does.
There you go.
So,
go.
but
Awesome.
thanks for
man.
having me around talking about the last year. It's been
Yeah.
a lot of fun.
Lot of
Thanks
fun,
for coming over,
Yeah.
Ben, and Coach Bohr. Thank you.
Kyle Bohr.
Hey, I love 2020 because I had some time off and actually spent time with my kid who's just born with
and his
that.
wife.
All right.
And my wife, so we
Yeah.
got a lot of family time, and then we got in quarantine right before basketball season. My kids started walking, so
Hey,
got to
Nice.
see
I
his
got to
first
see a lot of
steps.
steps, and
always
a lot
first.
got a lot of father family time. Then
No,
That's
that's
cool.
to me that's important, and
Very
that,
cool.
so there's a lot more positives out of that than negatives. That's what I look at. It's look at all the positive things I've got to be able to do
Yeah.
during that. So, but as far as the show goes, we want to say thanks, Ray, for putting up with us crazies. I know so sometimes we get a little bit off the rails, as you call it.
Oh, that's
So,
all right.
But
We're gonna have to deal with somebody off the rails here already because they've been griping and complaining to me about it.
That's okay. Yeah, we'll be all right. But thanks for putting this on and being able
It's
to
been
let us
fun.
do that. So
It has been fun, and looking forward to next year already with it. And the good thing about it is we use everything we do. Oh, he looked in the camera and it was on it. How did you know that? That was awesome. But we're just finding ways to get a little bit better, a little bit easier with it. I've been contacted by a couple other coaches about doing maybe a different coaches show too. Next week we got a surprise.
Nice.
It doesn't have anything to do with. Well, it does, but it doesn't. It is Coach's Box related, sort of, but it has something to do with Jim Powers and some referees instead.
love it.
Oh, that's
So
Can I sit over there and watch
you can, and it'll be a different night. We'll have Jim Powers on, and I think he's bringing in some referees, and we're gonna. I think we're gonna call that the referee strikes back.
I did
episode.
I did see an official today, and as he was leaving to go home for the day, and I saw him inside of a gas station, and he wanted me to make sure I told Coach Jarvis that he's very upset with him because he cost him a game down at Park Hills because his basketball team is quarantined, and so he missed out on the game. So he expects his payment in the mail, Coach Jarvis. So wherever you can find his address.
Was that Underwood?
Yeah, Charles.
Charles,
I was
you
with
should
him
tell
last
Powers get Matt Shelp on, Macy's
Yeah.
dad. He's a
good official, too.
He's a good official
Okay.
who doesn't do our games,
Right.
unfortunately, but he is a he is a great personality too.
Yeah.
Like he would be great
would.
for a show like this. So.
Holly says I can hear the whistles aimed at Riley already.
Can
Here's your stop sign.
Can we get the kid who gave Blair the 17 technicals?
Oh, he would be awesome too.
17.
No, it was more like 7. But I walked
Summer
into
League.
the gym in Summer League and beep, beep.
Oh,
And
let's
Blair's
not
like,
talk about
give
that.
me another one. We're not paying to shoot free throws.
Who got those technicals? In a summer league game?
He's
That
still
sounds
the
like,
only
that
one
sounds like a
that's-
good commercial.
The problem is I wasn't even arguing anything. I was just asking him a question, and he didn't like it that I asked him a question he didn't have the answer to.
Jarvis, Miller, or McVeigh haven't got technicals yet this year,
Nope.
have they?
No, they have not.
Oh,
Nope.
okay.
No.
I don't think I've got. Have you gotten one?
I have not.
No, I didn't get one yet.
You
either,
got a
so.
big one.
I did. Big arms, big long ones clicking out. So.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Well, we're going to wrap it up. Thanks, guys, for being with us again, and we appreciate everybody hanging out with us. Sorry about the technical issues. I think we got it fixed. And
Merry Christmas,
Merry
everyone.
Christmas,
Yeah,
Happy
Merry
New Year.
Christmas,
We hope to check you out here next week with something.
Yep.
We'll keep you involved and updated as well as we can. For all of us here at the Coach's Box, have a good night. We'll see you.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.